Have you heard that some schools have made the SAT and ACT optional for the next class of applicants in 2021? If you haven't, well, that's the news on the street. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what Ivy League school has announced that it's going test optional and what other major schools have announced this, and talk to you guys about how to keep on top of this kind of news as things move forward. If you're wondering who I am, my name's Brooke. I've been coaching and tutoring the SAT and the ACT for over a decade and a half. I also do college consulting and essay coaching. I've coached students to perfect scores on the ACT and the SAT in the last year. You can check out all of my secrets online at SupertutorTV.com. We have 2 online courses there. They are soon to be even more awesome because we're going to be releasing some major course upgrades this summer. We're releasing a totally new platform and I'm really excited about it. It looks awesome. So definitely go check those out. They are great tools to help you prepare for those tests. And if you're like, Brooke, I have no money, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It doesn't cost a penny. And I have lots of advice here. I have hours of advice totally for free right here for you guys. I also have 2 books for the ACT math section, the best ACT math books ever. You can check them out on Amazon.com. Cool, do that. Follow us on social and let's get started. So some big time schools have announced that they're going test optional for 2021 because of COVID-19. Big announcement, the UC school system, so that's all University of California schools have announced this. So that's kind of big, especially, well, they de-emphasize test scores anyway in many of their formulas that they use to allow students in. So maybe it's not a total shocker. They've also been sued about it, which we covered earlier this year. If you want to learn about that lawsuit, we have a video on that. But in any case, they've gone test optional. And some other big name schools are too. Williams College, the top ranked national liberal arts college in the country. Amherst College, second top ranked national liberal arts college. Swarthmore and Wellesley are also test optional. Bowdoin, Pomona, Claremont, so your Claremont colleges. NYU has had a test flexible policy for a long time. Tufts has announced for COVID that it's going test optional. Other colleges, University of Chicago has been test optional for a couple of years. Cornell, Ivy League school, has also announced it's going test optional. And University of Southern California, another big name that has announced it's going test optional, which is kind of big news because they usually really love test scores, USC. So a little bit of a surprise, but there you go. If you want a whole list of all the top ranked schools of the top 150 or so schools that are test optional, there's an awesome list that you can get from Fair Test. We're going to link to that in the blog that goes with this video. We usually have a blog that goes with our videos. So if you ever want to read stuff instead of watch, it's a great place to look. And in that blog, I will link out to this document from Fair Test, which is updated every few days, which is awesome. And it tells you where you can apply if you want to apply test optional. So that's good news. Now, let's talk about test optional. Just because a school is test optional doesn't mean they won't accept your SAT or ACT score. I think there's something else to consider in this COVID-19 situation, and that is that a lot of schools are not even giving grades, right? There's this do no harm rule that I know a lot of your high schools have adopted. And what it basically says is that they've frozen your junior year grades. Like if you're a junior, let's say you're a junior because you're the most likely people who need to take the SAT and ACT soon. If you're a junior, they've frozen your grades at the point at which COVID-19 shut down your school. And that's your grade, right? For some of you, it may have screwed you over because you were planning on doing better on the final to get your grade up. And for others of you, you're like, awesome, I don't have to do that huge research paper to worry about my grade on that. But regardless of who you are, what it means is all the work that you're doing end of junior year, you're not getting credit for it. What happens senior year if schools are still closed? How do you even grade people? Some schools have moved to pass or no pass grading. So you either pass or you don't pass, but that's going to make it really hard for colleges to figure out whether you're a good candidate for their school or not, to measure you academically if you have these pass, no pass kind of grades. It's already hard enough to try to figure out who good candidates are given how competitive our world is. But if everybody is just pass or fail, how are they going to know which students are Ivy League quality? It's going to be really hard. So if you think that a standardized test score could help you or help you make your case, I'm pretty sure that all these schools will still accept a score. They're not going to deny you the ability to use a score if you have it. They're just going to say you don't have to have it because we understand there's a lot of extenuating circumstances right now. The other thing that I will assure you is ACT and SAT have too much money on the line to not exhaust every humanly possible option to help you guys take their tests. They are extremely motivated to find a solution for you, whether that means testing at home or whether that means, social distancing protocols times 20, or changing the way that the SAT and the ACT work and not letting 1,000 people show up at once, and instead, doing lots of tiny test centers or whatever it is, or small neighborhood test centers, or whatever solution that looks like. So if you want to take the test, you can, and if you think it's going to help you, you still can take the test. And I'm of the opinion that it's going to be really hard to stand out when you guys have no activities, like half of you don't have any grades. Like, this is going to be a really tough year to stand out, especially if you're not the most amazing essay writer. Like, all you're going to have is your essay. So are they just going to let people in based on their college admissions essays? I don't know. This is going to be a really interesting admissions year. The other thing that I could foresee is that colleges review your application without complete details, and you send your test scores by, February or something really late. They might do away with early decision because a lot of students haven't had a chance to take these tests, and maybe just do regular decision for all college applications for a year. Maybe there's some other way that colleges are going to negotiate this. We have no idea what they're going to do exactly, but we do know that the test makers are super motivated to give you tests. That test optional has never meant we're not going to look at them at all. It's always meant we will look at it if you have it, and you don't have to have it if you don't want to. So I think, if anything, that gives you guys some options, given that there's so much uncertainty and there's so much you can't control. It actually puts you guys in the driver's seat a little bit, and you get to be in control. And if you think a test is a way that you can shine and you can stand out, I would encourage you to do it. But if you're bad at test taking, woohoo, this is like a sigh of relief. So those of you who are terrible at testing and who get major test anxiety, for you guys, you can breathe a sigh of relief. And I would say, chill out, and you don't have to worry about it. And that's about it that I've got for this update. I'll continue to track what schools are test optional and what schools aren't. We haven't really heard from a lot of the Ivy League schools. Harvard recently announced that they're going SAT subject test optional, but not SAT and ACT test optional. And likewise, like Princeton also isn't requiring you guys to take subject tests, and they're doubling down on that message this year, saying, hey, take the SAT, take the ACT, don't worry about the subject tests, because we get it, you guys are all COVID affected. And I would expect that that's probably the move that we're going to see. I would say that I would guess you don't have to submit AP scores or subject test scores. At this point, they're just going to go for that ACT or that SAT score. You already don't have to submit the essay to most of these top schools. I would guess that's the direction that everybody's going to start with, and we'll see what happens. It really just depends on how crazy this pandemic is, right? And how much people are quarantined and what's going on in the world. So there you have it. That's all I've got for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet, and stay tuned, because if any more COVID news comes out, I will be sure to let you guys know what I know and what I'm telling my students, if that's of interest. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Stay safe.